In 2008, one man decided to build a mall. Not just any mall, the largest mall on the face of the earth. 1,200 shops, a full-size Olympic ice rink, a 10 million-liter aquarium in the middle of a desert. And it opened on the same day the entire economy of Dubai started collapsing around it. Within 3 months of opening, property prices in Dubai had fallen 40%. The world was watching one of the most spectacular financial crashes in history. And this mall, the most expensive single retail project ever attempted, was sitting right in the middle of it. The emirate ran up $80 billion in debt. One of its biggest state-owned companies nearly went bankrupt. Dubai had to be bailed out by its neighbor with a $20 billion lifeline. The man who built the mall refused to panic. He was right. Dubai Mall is now the most visited place on Earth. Not the most visited mall, the most visited place. 111 million people walked through its doors in 2024 alone. More than the entire population of Germany, every single year. This is the story of how a building nearly broke Dubai, and then became the reason the world came back. To understand why Dubai Mall exists, you need to understand something most people get wrong about Dubai. Dubai is not rich because of oil. In fact, Dubai has almost no oil. Abu Dhabi, its much quieter neighbor, sits on 94% of the UAE's oil reserves. Dubai's oil started running out in the 1980s. By the late 1990s, oil accounted for less than 5% of Dubai's economy. So how did Dubai become Dubai? The answer starts with a quote attributed to Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum, the ruler who first transformed the city. He reportedly said, "My grandfather rode a camel, my father rode a camel, I drive a Mercedes, my son drives a Land Rover, his son will drive a Land Rover, but his son will ride a camel again." It was a warning. Dubai's oil would run out. If they didn't build something to replace it, the wealth would vanish with it. The decision that followed was extraordinary. Instead of managing the decline carefully, Dubai made an enormous leveraged bet on a completely different future: tourism, trade, luxury, entertainment, architecture that would make the whole world stop and look. The plan was to build things so spectacular, so improbable, that people would come from every corner of the earth just to see them. And the person tasked with making that vision real was a man named Mohamed Alabbar. Mohamed Alabbar was born in Dubai in 1956, when it was still a quiet trading port with no skyscrapers, no tourists, and no particular reason for the outside world to notice it. He studied business in the United States. He worked inside Dubai's government. He watched as cities like Seattle and New York showed him something he hadn't seen before: that a mall didn't have to be just a place to buy things. It could be the heart of a city, a reason to exist, a destination in its own right. In 1997, Alabbar founded Emaar Properties, backed by Dubai's government, with one mission: to build entire communities, not just buildings, hotels, residences, parks, fountains, the tallest tower in the world, and at the center of it all, a mall unlike any other. The project was called Downtown Burj Dubai. Later, it would simply be called Downtown Dubai. The total cost of the development, $20 billion. But here is the key thing about how Alabbar built it. He had been in Asia during the 1997 financial crisis. He had watched companies collapse because they had borrowed too aggressively and had no buffer when the markets turned. He never forgot it. While the rest of Dubai went on a debt binge through the 2000s, borrowing billions to build palm-shaped islands, indoor ski slopes, and towers shaped like sailboats, Alabbar built Emaar with discipline. When the crash came, Emaar didn't need a government bailout. It was one of the only major developers in Dubai that didn't. But the mall itself? That opened in the middle of the most terrifying financial storm Dubai had ever seen. Construction on Dubai Mall began in October 2004. The main building contract was worth $735 million. At the time, they estimated it would take 10 years to complete. They did it in 4. What they built defies easy description. The total site covers 1.1 million square meters, the equivalent of 200 football pitches. The internal floor area alone is 548,000 square meters across 4 floors. There are more than 1,200 retail outlets, 2 full anchor department stores, Bloomingdale's from New York, and Galeries Lafayette from Paris, and over 200 restaurants and cafes. Inside the mall, there is a full Olympic-sized ice rink in the middle of a desert. There is a 10 million-liter aquarium, one of the largest indoor aquariums in the world, holding over 33,000 sea creatures, including 400 sharks and rays. The acrylic viewing panel is 108 feet wide, 27 feet tall, and nearly 30 inches thick. It weighs over 245 tons. It holds the Guinness World Record for the largest acrylic panel ever made. There is a waterfall that falls through 4 floors, with silver sculptures of human divers tumbling alongside it. There is a virtual reality park, a cinema complex, a karting track on the roof, and a recreation of an Arabian souk inside. 14,000 parking spaces, an 820-meter air-conditioned walkway connecting the mall directly to the Dubai Metro, the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on Earth. Next door, the mall opened on November 4th, 2008, 6 weeks after Lehman Brothers collapsed and the global financial crisis began. What happened next was the worst possible timing. Dubai had spent the 2000s building faster than anywhere on Earth. Not just one ambitious project, but dozens of them, all funded by debt. The Palm Jumeirah, an entire island shaped like a palm tree, built in the sea. Towers along Sheikh Zayed Road that seemed to multiply every year. Entire new cities rising from the desert. When the global financial crisis hit in 2008, it hit Dubai like a wrecking ball. Property prices fell 40% in the first 3 months of 2009. Then they kept falling. By the time the market bottomed out, prices had dropped 50% from their 2008 peak. The worst property crash of any major city in the world. Construction sites went quiet. Cranes stopped moving. Tens of thousands of workers lost their jobs. Some left so fast they abandoned their cars at the airport. The car parks filled with vehicles belonging to people who simply fled, because a bounced check in Dubai could mean jail. Dubai World, one of the Emirates' biggest state-owned conglomerates, announced it could not repay its debts. $26 billion in debt. It sent shockwaves through international markets. Global newspapers ran headlines about Dubai going bankrupt. Abu Dhabi stepped in with a $20 billion bailout. Not because it was generous, because the UAE could not afford the reputational damage of one of its emirates defaulting. And in the middle of all of this, the Burj Khalifa opened, the world's tallest building, right next door to Dubai Mall. In January 2010, stuck elevator cars had to be rescued by teams working in the shaft. 6 weeks later, the Aquarium in Dubai Mall, 2.6 million gallons of water and 33,000 creatures, sprang a leak. Shoppers scattered, boutiques flooded, the whole mall evacuated. It reopened the next day because the visitors kept coming. Here is the thing that nobody expected. In 2009, the worst year of the Dubai financial crisis, 37 million people visited Dubai Mall. In 2010, while the crisis was still grinding on and property prices were still falling, 47 million people visited. That is a 27% increase. In the middle of an economic collapse. The visitors weren't just coming from the UAE. They were coming from Russia, from India, from China, from Europe, from everywhere. The mall had become something the crisis couldn't touch. A destination. A spectacle. Something people saved up and flew halfway across the world to see. And Alabbar had designed it that way deliberately. When rivals in the industry were building standalone malls, big boxes in suburbs, purely functional, he built something integrated. Dubai Mall doesn't stand alone. It sits at the foot of the tallest building in the world. It overlooks the Dubai Fountain, the world's tallest performing fountain, shooting water 150 meters into the air, choreographed to music every evening. The mall, the fountain, and the Burj Khalifa are all part of the same experience. You can't see one without wanting to see the others. Alabbar would later say, "We have never built standalone malls. All our malls have our kingdom around it. They all help each other to live." It worked beyond anything anyone had planned for. Let us talk about what Dubai Mall has become. In 2011, it became the most visited building on Earth. 54 million visitors in a single year. In 2012, 65 million. In 2023, 105 million. A 19% jump from the previous year. In 2024, 111 million. 111 million people in a single mall, in a single year. France, the most visited country in the world, gets about 100 million international tourists a year. Dubai Mall gets more than that, just from the people walking through one building. The Eiffel Tower attracts roughly 6 million visitors a year. The Louvre Museum, about 8 million. Dubai Mall, 111 million in the same 12 months. That is more than the entire population of Germany, every single year. 99% of tourists who visit Dubai in 2024 visited Dubai Mall. It is not the first thing on most people's itinerary. It is the itinerary. The Dubai Mall is not the biggest mall in the world by leasable space. It ranks 20th on that measure. It wins on total land area. But none of that explains why 111 million people go there. They go because of what it became. Not a shopping center, a city inside a building, a place where you can skate on an Olympic ice rink, walk through a shark tunnel, stand at the base of the world's tallest tower, watch 150-meter water fountains dance to Celine Dion, and eat at 200 restaurants, all without going outside. In a desert climate where it is 45 degrees in August, that is not a feature. That is the entire point. Dubai's gamble, the $20 billion bet on downtown Dubai, the mall, the fountain, the Burj Khalifa, is now widely regarded as one of the most successful infrastructure investments in history. In 2023, Dubai welcomed 17 million international tourists, making it the third most visited city in the world. In 2024, 18.7 million. In 2025, 19.6 million, a new record. International visitors spent $32.7 billion in Dubai in 2023 alone. Tourism contributes roughly 12% of Dubai's entire GDP. For comparison, the oil revenues that were supposed to run out, they represent less than 1% of Dubai's economy today. Sheikh Rashid's great-great-grandchildren will not be riding camels because a man decided to build a mall. Dubai Mall itself has just announced a new $408 million expansion. 240 more luxury stores and restaurants, adding to an already staggering portfolio. A second expansion is under planning. And Dubai is already building what could become the largest mall in the world to rival it. A project at Dubai Creek Harbor, currently in development, that could eventually eclipse even Dubai Mall's visitor numbers. The city that had no oil looked at an empty desert and decided to build something so spectacular that the world would pay to come and see it. They were right. Picture this: February 25th, 2010. Dubai is in the worst financial crisis it has ever experienced. The world's newspapers are writing its obituary. Property prices have crashed. Tens of thousands of workers have left. The bailout from Abu Dhabi arrived just in time. And the aquarium in the most expensive mall ever built is leaking. 33,000 creatures, 2.6 million gallons of water, a crack in the largest acrylic panel on Earth, shoppers running, boutiques flooded, international news cameras capturing the spectacle. It reopened the next day. Not because of government intervention, not because of a bailout or a stimulus package or an emergency plan, because the crowds outside were still there. Still wanting to come in, still willing to stand in line for a mall that was leaking sharks. That is the real story of Dubai Mall. Every extraordinary build we cover on this channel eventually answers the same question. What happens when human ambition runs ahead of what seems possible? Sometimes it collapses, sometimes it survives, and sometimes, just sometimes, it becomes the most visited place on Earth. Next on Titan projects. A machine so large, it builds tunnels while moving through solid rock, hundreds of meters long, thousands of tons, invisible from the surface, but reshaping entire cities underground. Subscribe. The biggest builds are still to come. Titan projects. We build the impossible.